Hey, what's up, Jeremy, the online ads guy? This episode, one of the earlier podcasts that we did, and I was a guest on. So it was the first one I did where we spoke really about technical things and not just, marketing in general. And I definitely enjoyed it. Jeremy Rivera has been 19 years in the game, and I think because of his insights, we were able to have a much deeper conversation. And he doesn't do any PPC at all, and I don't do any SEO at all. So it was a good connection. I got my, misconceptions and stuff out of the way, and really wanted to hear his perspective on where SEO, GEO, AEO is going, which he was able to share a lot of it, and he has a lot of, to me, like original thoughts on where it's all going and making his predictions. And since then, I mean, he's helped me with some SEO stuff on YouTube as I'm starting my podcast, and he's starting to help me on a what I should be doing, what I should be looking out for. How do I leverage the most time? How do I leverage AI to, amplify the effort? I look forward to having him on our podcast as well. Anyway, give it a listen, and yeah, let me know what you think. See ya.
Hello, I'm Jeremy Rivera, your Unscripted SEO podcast host. I'm here with Jeremy Yang, founder of Digital Goliath. Let's have you give yourself an introduction, talking a little bit about some of your experience that's made you an expert in marketing.
100%, man. So thanks for having me, first of all. I've started Digital Goliath about 7 years ago out of like absolute necessity because, before that, I was working a few marketing places and things were just moving very, very slowly when it comes to marketing. And I was very impatient. And the guy who recognized that, and he said, you know what, dude, if you really want things to go fast, you got to go in the paid ad space. So I went into there when I followed a great mentor. And when she decided not to continue to build her agency, she worked out a deal with me. And yeah, so Digital Goliath was born about 7 years ago. Since then, I came from small business. I work with a lot of small businesses, and probably a third of my business is currently white labeling for massive agencies who missing that part of their gig. And then a lot of my own clients. Yeah. So we're managing currently about $450,000 a month in ad spend, which is respectable, you know? So it was just great to be here when, you reached out, I was like, yeah, I would love to talk SEO because I don't know enough about it. And I think it's always good to hear it from the other side.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that, I've been doing this for 19 years, personally, and ever from the beginning, there is a divide between SEO and SEM. What do you think maintains that divide? Why is it so often separate teams that don't communicate with each
Yeah.
other?
For me, I think that's a good question. I think for me, it's more on the ground intensity. Whereas SEO, it's like there's certain rhythm, right, to it. You do something, you test it. For ads, it's the intensity is a lot higher. Like when your clients are doing ads, the stakes I feel is higher. They're more demanding. You have to be like hovering around the computer kind of thing. Like things go wrong and things has to be fixed straight away. Right. And I feel like another divide, and I don't really treat it as a divide. Another reason is I feel like Google will give you all the information when it comes to ads. They want you to spend, they want you to do, follow their whatever. And I know a lot of it is BS. It's all made up because they own the whole house and they try to make each other bid against each other, right? Like any intelligent person will see that, but at least they're telling you like where you're ranking, top, absolute top. What are you doing wrong? How much? Like they used to give a lot more keyword data around that. You want
Yeah.
to search for something, go. It's right here. The platform tells you the spreading bits. With SEO, I feel like you guys have a harder in the aspect where you guys are always like listening to what's out there, what's coming up, like what's testing. You try to help each other out like a community kind of thing. Whereas paid ads is just like guns for hire. Like we're gonna get this money, we're gonna get this done. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah.
That is true. I have a friend, she's in the paid ad space, and we were just kind of riffing about, oh, hey, she wants to do, conversations about the role of AI in ads as a
Yeah.
podcast series.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I'd love to talk to more ads people, but a lot of the people I know won't talk to me because they kind of
Yeah.
want to keep their secrets safe,
Really?
Yeah, well, because
Weird.
it makes sense. We were kind of
Yeah,
talking it through of like, hey, if you're in the digital ad space and you know something, you want to get paid for that,
sure.
and that's
Yeah,
like, and you can quickly apply it with somebody's budget.
yeah,
Versus with SEO, you have to prove it out. You have to have really solid examples of,
yeah.
okay, I did X, Y, and Z with this client over this amount of time and came out with this output.
Yeah.
And, for a long time in the SEO space, publishing what you're working on was like the number one way to get clients.
Hmm.
So like the
Yeah.
proof in the pudding versus somebody in the ad space, well, they're going to run ads to get more people to
Instant.
sell ads too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is kind of that
From my
perspective.
experience, so that's so interesting because from my experience, like from the ads people that I've dealt with and the people in my cohort, they can't wait to give it away because it's like they try to create courses, they try to create, YouTube content. It's like because I feel like people's gonna figure out anyway because ads, there's Meta Ads Library, Google Transparency Center, like the word and keyword, and from my experience, like they can't wait to give it away to so it's so interesting listening from your side of town. Yeah, yeah,
I'm curious. I personally have dipped into, small campaigns here and there for clients who, they don't have that much budget or they don't want to hire a separate ads person. And can I please set it up, or can you check out my system? And,
yeah.
often I'll audit and be like, this is terrible. Who set this up? They're like, Google set it up for me.
Google set it
Like,
up. Yeah, yeah.
well, that's the fox guarding the hen house right there.
Yes, yeah.
What are some of the most egregious setup errors that you've seen coming into somebody's ads account that you've fixed and turned things around for them?
So if Google setting up, so there's two different types of Google support in my eyes, right? Like there's the offshore ones where they have agenda to switch everything to auto recommendation. So it doesn't matter how they get you on the call, eventually the agenda will come up. I say, oh, why don't you go here for a little while? What about this box? You want to tick this box? It's like, no, dude, I don't want to tick that box. I know what that box does. If a client, if that's being set up, I think that that's going to have a lot of problems because they have a script and agenda. They're not looking at your ad account at all. So they're ticking boxes so they can quickly, move on. But the onshore ones, it only comes to you when you start spending a lot of money. So when you're at a certain amount and they don't care anything about auto recommendation, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They kind of know your business and they kind of know the industry so they can bring you stats, etc. Like general stats, not competitor stats, but general stats
Yeah.
about, how the bids are. But to answer your question, I think when they cram everything in one campaign, when they try to do it easy, it's so nuanced. There's every single knob that's in there. There's a
Yeah.
YouTube video on you should turn it on. There's a YouTube on why you shouldn't turn it on. So it's like so situational and you can't just go and follow a script. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to do it slowly and really learn it, I think. So there's too many things to mention. Yeah.
One thing that I would do, and I don't know, maybe you can tell me if it's still best practice, is to look to split your ad groups down to much smaller sets of keywords and have at least 3 ads for each of those small ad groups. Is that somewhere around best practice, or what is some of the best
Yeah.
setup advice for businesses these days?
I respect that setup. I do. But Google has favoring us moving on from that. So it's more theme based. So you know how back in the days was exact match, phrase match, broad match, right? So now everything is broad-ish. Doesn't matter how you set it, right? So if you like, just say you type in something to do with a specific service, right? Now competitor brands can sneak in, whereas that's never happened before. Just because they do that service as well, right? So
Yeah.
how crazy is that? Because before you used to have to type in like Jeremy Rivera SEO for the search to show up, but now if it goes SEO, your local town, like Jeremy stuff could come up too, and they could trigger their ads. So how crazy is that? So exact match is no longer exact match. So as you probably know about Performance Max, you probably see a lot of that. That's where everything is pushing towards. The good thing that Google's done recently is it's allowing negative lists again for Performance Max. Before it wasn't allowed, so it was complete black box for about a year and a half.
Huh.
Oh, it's just crazy. Crazy. He's just putting money in, you have no idea. But to answer your question, I probably wouldn't segment it down like that granular level anymore. But if you do have e-commerce accounts, that's when you treat the campaign level like the old ad group level. Break down each ROAS group. So do it based on
Yeah.
ROAS. Don't base it on like product name or anything. Based on ROAS levels. And then that way you can,
Okay.
because it's ROAS game, right? So
Yeah.
you're telling the machine to learn, you want to convert at 4x, right? So if you have one product line that has 1.2x and 8x acceptable, that's not going to work because it's too scattered. 5 averages will kill you. So you got to go break it down to ROAS levels. So that's e-commerce. I think there's a game around splitting. In terms of services businesses, depends how much money they have. If they have a good amount of budget, I will still go search. If they don't, you probably have to rely on PMax for a while.